The butterfly effect. Small, seemingly insignificant actions can lead to massive consequences over time. Example: being late to work, miss a meeting, lose a client, company revenue drops, layoffs occur. Or, smiling at a stranger brightens their day, they help someone else, creates a ripple of kindness. I'll tell a story about the ripple of fate. It all started on a spring afternoon, just as the sun was beginning to dip below the horizon. In the quiet town of Marlow, a man named Ben stood outside his small apartment, gazing at the skyline. The evening air was crisp, and the streets were bathed in a soft orange glow. He was waiting for a bus to take him to his evening shift at a local restaurant, a routine he had followed for months, never thinking much about it. As he stood there, something caught his eye: a butterfly, small and fragile, fluttering past him. For a moment, it hovered in the air, then gently landed on a nearby bush, its wings shimmering in the light. Ben watched it for a few seconds before turning away, as if dismissing the delicate creature. He had more important things to think about. Little did he know that this brief encounter, this single moment, would set off a chain of events that would forever change the course of his life. That evening, Ben caught his bus, just as he always did. But today, something felt different. The driver seemed distracted, and the usual route felt longer than usual. Ben, half asleep, paid no attention to the odd delays. When he finally arrived at the restaurant, he was late, but it didn't matter. He still had a shift to work. Inside the bustling kitchen, the head chef, a perfectionist named Carla, scolded him for being tardy. Frustrated, Ben apologized and tried to get to work, but the mood in the kitchen was tense. Carla, usually calm and controlled, was on edge, snapping at everyone. Ben had never seen her so irritable before, but he chalked it up to the long hours and stress. Later in the night, just as the dinner rush was dying down, a customer sitting at the bar had a heart attack. Panic swept through the restaurant, and Carla, unable to remain composed, froze in shock. Ben, who had never dealt with such a situation, was the first to react, rushing to help the man. He followed the first aid steps he had learned years ago, though he felt completely unprepared. Miraculously, the customer survived, but the event caused a ripple of turmoil in the restaurant. Carla, overwhelmed by the situation and the aftermath, resigned from her position. Her departure left a vacancy that no one had expected, and that vacancy led to a new head chef, a woman named Evelyn, who brought a fresh perspective and innovative ideas to the restaurant. Under Evelyn's leadership, the place started to gain attention for its bold, experimental cuisine. Food critics, who had previously overlooked the restaurant, now praised it as one of the best in the city. Months passed, and Ben, who had been working in the kitchen under Carla's supervision, found himself under Evelyn's. She recognized his potential, and he quickly moved up in the ranks. He even began experimenting with his own dishes, learning from the best in the industry. One day, an influential food critic dined at the restaurant and loved one of Ben's creations, leading to a glowing review that put him on the map. With his newfound recognition, Ben was offered an opportunity to open his own restaurant. The offer felt like a dream come true. He poured his heart into the new venture, and it flourished, becoming a culinary hotspot in the city. Over time, his success grew, bringing him fame, fortune, and the chance to make a real difference in the culinary world. Years later, when Ben looked back on the journey, he marveled at how everything had unfolded. It all started with that butterfly. If Ben hadn't stood there and watched it for a moment, he might not have been late for the bus. If he hadn't been late, he might not have been scolded by Carla, which led to the critical moment when he had to act in the emergency. If he hadn't acted, the chain of events that led to Carla's resignation, Evelyn's hiring, and his own success would never have happened. Ben realized that something as small as a butterfly's wings had set in motion a series of events that changed his life forever. Every action, no matter how insignificant it seemed, had far-reaching consequences, shaping his path in ways he could never have anticipated. In the end, Ben understood the true meaning of the butterfly effect. Small, seemingly insignificant actions can create ripples that grow into something much larger, leading to consequences that ripple through time, touching lives in ways we may never fully understand.